What's good, fight fans? Your Majesty speaking. A few days ago, I did a ERICKSONLUBIN and Vergilortiz video, and I'm back with my prediction. Um, I'm torn. I'm torn because part of me feels like, as I said in that other video, that Lubin was the up and coming superstar that was supposed to be the next best thing, and now Vergilortiz is that. And it's a Golden Boy Promotions event. And I feel like I look at Vergilortiz almost the same way I did Tim Tszyu, where something about him that this company is pushing and they want him to be that next guy. And I feel like if 9 times out of 10, Lubin would have to be in a position where he either stops Vergil or he drops him a couple times or makes it so decisive, almost to the point where they can't rob him of a victory. He will have to do that to win this fight. I don't believe that they're going to jeopardize the fight with Boots if it's next. If it ain't next, I just don't see them being at a stage where they're going to jeopardize that fight. It almost kind of puts me in the mind of when Canelo and Triple G were on a collision course, and Triple G was up against Danny Jacobs, and I happened to be at that fight live, and I thought Danny Jacobs, even though he got knocked down in like the second round or whatever it may have been, I knew it was early on when he got knocked down, but even though he got knocked down in that fight, I thought he did enough to edge the fight and win the fight. But they gave the nod to Triple G because, once again, I felt like that collision course, they didn't want to mess up that money. They didn't want to put, I don't think they felt like a Danny Jacobs and Canelo fight would have garnered the public's attention and the money that the Canelo versus GGG fight garnered. And for that reason, I feel like they gave the nod to Triple G. I feel the same way about this. I feel like this fight, I can't see anybody running away with it. I can see somebody maybe edging it out a little, 7 rounds to 5, maybe 8 rounds to 4. Or maybe even where it could be a draw. But like I said, I feel like if it's a close enough fight, and even if it is a draw, I feel like I always say Victor Ortiz. Vergilortiz will get the nod in this situation. I just feel like his ERICKSONLUBIN's back is against the wall in this fight. And for that reason, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going with ERICKSONLUBIN. I'm going to pick Lubin because I respect the fact that he does what we ask fighters to do, which is take these hard fights. And I'm going to show him some support. I'm going with ERICKSONLUBIN in this fight. I'm going to have to say by decision. I can't see him. Actually, I can, but I don't think it'll be a stoppage on either part, honestly. I think Lubin is too slick of a boxer to, put himself in that much trouble versus Ortiz. But then again, you look at Fabio Wardley versus Joseph Parker, and it's like if something happens and the referee can stop the fight kind of quick if need be. But just to break down a little bit how I do see it going, I see the earlier rounds being more heavily favored for Lubin. I can see his slick style and his southpaw jab giving Vergilortiz issues early on. And I can also see Lubin edging out maybe 2 or 3 rounds to start off the fight. Now, I do know that Vergil is one of those guys who his momentum, he's like a locomotive train where he kind of started off slow, but once his momentum gets going, it's hard to slow him down. And so I can see in the mid to late rounds him picking it up and starting to apply pressure. But I think that's where Lubin has to be sharp. He has to use his boxing IQ. He has to you know, I could say he can use his clinching, but I feel like this would be one of those fights where, you know, they'll warn him for clinching once, and then the next one will be a point deduction. So he kind of got to be careful. I do feel like I said, his back is against the wall, but I can see a way for him to win. Let me say this. I think that Virgil is going to win only because, like I said, they're not going to fuck that fight up. But I want Lubin to win. Let me say that. I want Lubin to win, but I just think it's too much going against him in this fight that won't allow him to win unless he get a stoppage, which is possible, but I just don't see it. And so my prediction for this fight is Virgil by decision. I think it's going to be one of those fights that we go back and look at and say, damn, man, this shit was, you know, a fight of the year candidate. If it's anything other than that, I'll be surprised. But once again, I'm your majesty. I'm not God. So with that being said, I'm going to pick Vergilortiz by decision. I'm not going to say majority or unanimous, but I do believe that Vergil is going to win the fight. And it's going to be sad because I do believe that this will be Lubin's last opportunity to put himself in position to fight for a championship. And I only say that because I know how boxing goes. You get a couple opportunities before they start to write you off or before you become a journeyman. I look at Lubin right now as maybe like a gatekeeper, not so much a journeyman. But after this, it's kind of over with if he don't win this fight. So, like I said before, I want Lubin to win. I just think it's so much against him that he gonna have to be spectacular, and it's gonna have to either be a blowout or it's gonna have to be a fight where he get a couple of knockdowns, and it's kind of hard to rob him. But yeah, prediction for tonight's fight: Vergilortiz unanimous decision, but in a close enough fight to where I can even see it being kind of controversial, kind of like maybe Boachuk, the Boachuk and Vergilortiz fight. But I'm looking forward to this. We got a few more hours before the card start. I wanted to get this prediction video out before that. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to touch on. I think that may be it as far as things that I wanted to touch on. But if you have not subscribed to the channel, now is the time to do so. Be sure to hit the like button and the notification icon to be notified when I drop future videos. Also, if you have not subbed to my social media accounts, please go do that. And until next time.